Hello, everybody. Welcome to 2024. Happy New Year. We're here. We made it. I have been doing a lot of sleeping, napping, more sleeping, and generally just not being on my feet. And honestly, like we made it. We made it through the season. I am still rubber side down, but it was a challenge. So the last time that I spoke with you, I was doing sort of a little recap of 2023 and some of the things I was looking forward to in 2024. Little did I know when I recorded that last podcast that we would suddenly get all these last minute orders basically before I was closing down for the season, which is great. Thank you to everybody that did those last minute orders that was like, I have money in my budget and I need to buy stuff. I've got staff and I've got customers and I've got family and friends. And so it was wonderful. We made it happen. We always do. You know, when you work in the food industry and you're in hospitality, sometimes it's just, we got to get it done. It's just what it is. So what I want to do today, it is January 2nd, 2024. I'm already feeling inundated and I'm really trying to protect my peace and not be stressed. But I've got some really exciting and fun things coming up. We're going to talk about that today. And I've got some things that I've got to kind of sort through, and a lot of it's scheduling. So when you have your own business and you do events and you teach and you do markets and you know, on and on and on, there's a lot of juggling, right? Because you want to be able to do everything and you want to accommodate everything, but my goodness, is there time for everything? Not always. So I've got the little space set up downstairs. So if you're watching, hello from the tasting room. If you're listening, hello from the tasting room. I'm actually really cozy down here. I have the little space heater going, so it's keeping me warm. I have, of course, a coffee. I love coffee, and I love drinking fancy coffee. You guys, we know each other well enough. You know this isn't a regular coffee. This is my coffee from Square One, which is my macadamia nut milk latte with salted caramel syrup, extra sweet, extra hot. I'm fancy like that. I'm needy. I'm a princess. I don't care. It's delicious. And also the fact that the barista knows what my drink is also makes me extremely happy. So I was there today with a friend and it was actually not packed to the gills and manageable. And I said to the barista, isn't this lovely? And she's like, it really is. Because the place is usually banana pants, which is awesome. You want that. You want businesses to be that busy. I'm also eating. You might hear me nibbling throughout the episode, but Jason's mom made for my birthday, she made me oatmeal cake. And so this is, it's like a very dense cake, kind of like if you were to think of the consistency of like cornbread, but with oatmeal. And the top of it is, let's see if I can scoop up a piece for those of you watching. The top of it is this amazing brown syrup, brown sugar topping. It's really good. So thank you to Jason's mom. So she made me, we did my birthday celebration with his family after my birthday because they adore singing happy birthday to me. I don't like it. My family, we aren't cruel like that. We don't do happy birthday. It's awkward, but they revel in it. They love it. They giggle and they think it's so funny. But so they surprised me with an oatmeal cake and they did happy birthday. And then Jason's mom had actually made an extra oatmeal cake. And it's kind of a funny story because last year for his birthday, we actually went to stay with our friends in Canmore. And so I had asked his mom, I was like, could you make the oatmeal cake? Because that's Jason's favorite birthday cake, which has just by default become my favorite birthday cake. But we asked her if she would make this, and this is I don't even know where she got this recipe done, but she's been making this recipe for, well, Jason's 51 now. I know we look so young. I have to do some videos of him later, but so she's been making this for like 5 decades, and I don't even know where she got the recipe from. I'll have to ask her. But the when I asked her if she could make this cake, because I wanted to take one to surprise him in Canmore, I said, I want to make the cake with you, though. Like, that would be such a much better and more fun experience. So we actually spent the day together last year, and we made the birthday cake. And he had no idea that I had this cake with me. And we got to our friend's place, and they had made this lovely dinner to celebrate his birthday. And then I was like, hold on a minute. And I basically ran down to the vehicle and pulled out the birthday cake. And I was like, you have to keep your eyes closed. And I surprised him with the cake. And subsequently then our friends are like, that cake is delicious. So let's see what I should do here. I should try and get this recipe, or if I can convince Jason's mom, we should just film a recipe making this oatmeal cake, because it's super dense, it's delicious, it's very filling. You can eat it for breakfast because it's oatmeal, right? Like, oatmeal is breakfast. So it's wonderful. I should take a little bite here. I brought it downstairs with the coffee, got the cake, and it kind of melts in your mouth. Like, it's so delicious. So, oatmeal cake, holidays, we made it. Yay, 2024. And there was cheering. But on the last episode, I talked about the cookbook challenge that I want to do. And I have a lot of cookbooks. I'm just going to preface that and say it again. I have a lot of cookbooks, and I love them all. And as I was going through the cookbooks, so if you are watching this video, I'm actually got some little video going up all of my cookbooks right now. So that's over on YouTube. But as I was going through, right now I'm kind of looking, because I've got 2 sets of bookshelves with all of the different cookbooks on them. And one of the things I noticed was a couple patterns of the books that I am sort of attracted to buying. I like to say that I'm freeing them from the bookstore to a better home at my house. Not that the bookstore's not taking care of them, but my house is better. Things I noticed about the books that I have. Most of them are written either with a theme of seasonal, or they are something specific. And what I mean by that is, like, I have a book over that I'm kind of glancing at right now, and it's called Bitter. And the whole theme of the book is bitter foods. Personally, I love bitter foods. They're delicious. Give me a salad of just arugula and I am happy. Other people don't like bitter foods so much. So the whole cookbook is basically stories and recipes all around bitter foods. So I have books that are either sort of that seasonal themed, or I have ones that are basically from an area, and they are about something. So I'll explain that in a second, because I actually have picked out 3 books that are specifically from an area. So as I started looking through all the books, I was like, oh my goodness. Because I thought, I'll plan out, the entire year of what I'm going to do on the YouTube channel, on the podcast. Am I going to review the book? Am I going to make recipes from the book? What am I going to do? And I thought, big aspirations. I was very aspirational when I was recording the last episode. I'm going to plan out the whole year. As I was going through everything, I realized the better tactic is quarterly, small bites. So I ended up picking out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books that we're going to focus on in this first quarter. We might add a few more in, who knows? But as I was going through these books, the recipes that I was attracted to were the books that are winter, because of course I'm in the Northern Hemisphere, up in Canada. It's winter. Now, is it a regular winter this year? No. Do we have snow? No. Is it super weird? Yes. Was it great for driving though? 100% it was. So we do a trip, so my parents and myself do a trip to Red Deer, which is an hour and a half city away from where we live in Edmonton. And my goodness, having dry roads, beautiful. So my coffee's calling me. I'm gonna have a little sip. Oh, if you have not had the macadamia nut milk, and spell it however you want, macadamia nut beverage, I don't care what you want to call it. Like I said, we got somebody that's going to come on and discuss this later. It's delightful. So it should be in your life. Put it in your life. I think that a latte with macadamia nuts is very, very good. So can I drink dairy? No, I cannot. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that story later. So I picked out 6 books. I'm kind of looking at them. I picked out 6 books right now, and it was all recipes that I was attracted to that were very winter focused. Now, I'm not going to lie, I was also most attracted to the desserts because I love desserts. Who doesn't love desserts? Desserts are delicious. But I thought, nope, we're not going to do just desserts. So we are going to go through the books that I picked and what I'm going to do with each of the books. So actually going to start off with a local author. So this is somebody that I know. This is Shane Chartrand. So he is a local Indigenous author. He is currently doing some pretty amazing things. So he's got a culinary school that he's doing for Indigenous culinary. He's working in Banff in the National Park at a restaurant there. So his book is called Tawaw. Tawaw. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. Oof, if I pronounce it wrong, sorry, Shane. That's the book. And it is progressive Indigenous cuisine. And he wrote this book with a lovely lady named Jennifer Cockrall-King. And as I was looking through this book and I was looking through the winter recipes, because this is one of those books that I was telling you about earlier that is divided into seasons, I'm going to do a whole episode on this book because it's delightful. First off, there are beautiful pictures throughout the book. There are pictures of technique in the book, and there are stories. So in between sections, there are stories, information about where he's from, his family, why this type of food is culturally important. And he's got beautiful pictures all throughout the book. And so what I thought for this one was he actually has a recipe that's a recipe that his dad gave to him for a galette. A galette is a type of like a bread. Indigenous people, if you say bread, most people associate bannock with that. And so there's a whole thing I'm going to go into about that and sort of where bannock came from, because bannock was not obviously originally an Indigenous food, but where it sort of came from. The recipe is passed down from his dad, who's Métis, and the recipe has ginger in it and roasted garlic. I love ginger. There is never enough ginger in what I'm eating. There could always be more. So I picked that recipe out, and then he has a white bean dip as well that looked absolutely delightful. So I thought an appetizer. So we're going to make that recipe from this book. And then I saw a recipe in here for beet chocolate cake. And I thought, And I know that beets in desserts are quite good. I'm not a huge fan of beets. The earthiness of them is not my favorite on the palate, but I have made some recipes with beets in the past that I've absolutely loved. If Jason is listening to this, he is scoffing right now because I turn my notes up at Beats every time he brings them in the house. He gobbles them up and thinks they're absolutely delicious. He sits and eats them out of a jar. He's crazy. But I know that chocolate and beets do go together very, very well. So it's just like, if you make a chocolate zucchini cake, you think zucchini is a vegetable, right? We'll debate that later. But with the beets, I think this is going to be quite a good recipe. I looked over the ingredients, and I thought, that looks really good. So we're going to make that as well from this book. And those are very sort of winter, warming recipes to make, because that's what I just want warm things, like my latte. I want my warm latte and my oatmeal cake. So that's going to be from Tawaw. I think that's how you pronounce it. Now I gotta look. I gotta open this book. Yes, it says at the very beginning, Tawaw. I did it right. Thank you very much. It says right there. But he is Cree, and he was raised by a Métis father and a Mi'kmaq Irish mother. So he was adopted. So lots of great stories in here. So we'll do a whole book review for this recipe book, and then we're going to make those 3 recipes out of the book. And he has, of course, many, many recipes in this. I know that him and Jennifer, when they put this book together, they did a lot of work on it. And I actually got to go to a book launch event for this book because he is from this region here. And so my book is signed. I do love a cookbook that's signed. So that is the first book. Then, so that's an Alberta-based book. The next book that we're doing, I am fascinated with Appalachia, the Blue Mountains, Georgia. I don't know what it is. I don't know if I'm just attracted to the culture and just the history of the area, because I kind of read quite a few books, like fiction books that are set in the area, and I just really enjoy them. But I found this book years and years and years ago, and if you're watching this, I'll just describe. This book has a lot of sticky notes. There's your sticky notes in it, because this has incredible recipes. So the book is called Honey and Jam, and it's by Hannah Queen, and the subtitle is Seasonal Baking from My Kitchen in the Mountains. Hannah Queen, you've got me. You've got me right there. I've actually owned this book for a really long time, because here's the thing, folks. I am attracted to beautiful, pretty colors and covers of cookbooks. I love them. So this is why I have so many cookbooks, because I see them and I'm like, oh, I need you. You have to come home with me. The other thing about this book is the pictures in it are gorgeous. And so she is set in Appalachia. She is up in the Blue Mountains in Georgia. And this recipe book is stunning. Absolutely stunning. So as I started going through this book, there's a recipe for olive oil cake. Many of you know I use a lot of olive oils, balsamic vinegars from the Evolution store. So Evolution is a store. They have Edmonton, Calgary, St. Albert, Banff, and Canmore locations. It is a locally owned store. I used to be a manager there, so I know the products really, really well, and I love using them. The Advent calendar this year, or well, I guess last year now, had a lot of Evolution products in it, because they are such high quality and they're so easy to use. No, Evolution did not sponsor this podcast, this episode. But if you do, hi Sean. The ease of the products, the variety of products that you get. So in this book, as I was kind of going through it, I'll probably make a couple of things from this book, but I'm definitely going to make, there's an olive oil cake. And I have actually made olive oil cake before. I did a lemon pound cake when I was working at Evolution, because we used to do tasting events there, which were so super fun. You would not believe how much food you could make with basically an induction burner and a pot. And we would make a full 3-course dinner for guests in this little countertop in the back storage room. I'm not even kidding you. And we created all these amazing things. But again, the products were already so good. So I wanted to make this olive oil cake, and it's an orange. It's a blood orange one. And they have a Cara orange, balsamic vinegar, and then I think the olive oil might be a blood orange. I have to check and be for sure. It is a type of orange, so we're gonna make this, and then I'll probably make another recipe out of there. Again, absolutely gorgeous cookbook, stunning photos. Like seriously, with these pictures, and a story about each recipe, a memory, why she makes it, what it means, and I eat that up, pun intended. I eat it up. I love it. So Honey and Jam, Hannah Queen, it's another book that we're going to do. So I will pull probably another 1 or 2 recipes out of there, and the attempt is going to be to film everything as well. We're gonna go, Alberta, Appalachia, we're going across the pond. We're going to the New Nordic. So this is Scandinavian cuisine. It is called the New Nordic. And as you know, if you have been listening to this podcast, or if you're new, hi there, I'm Colleen. I've lived around the world. I lived in Scandinavia. I lived in Denmark for a couple of years. And I was introduced to a lot of foods that I had never had before. You know, smoked fish, fricadella, so these like little, almost like meatballs. Just so many. Guff. Oh my gosh, how do I explain guff? Like, got my hand on my head right now. When you buy an ice cream cone, so they make a waffle cone and then they put ice cream in it, and then they pile all these things on top. It's like a towering ice cream cone, and then they put this stuff called guff on top, and it's kind of like a meringue marshmallow thing. I don't know. You just go to Denmark and eat it. It's good. But there was a lot of food that I ate there that, of course, you would never get here. And there's so many food memories that I have, which, as I was telling you guys, Jason actually bought me the salted black licorice advent calendar from Denmark. That was my advent calendar this year, and I loved it. Pretty much of all of the flavors that I had, there was only one that I was like, ugh. And you know what it was? It was a mint one, and the mint was like toothpaste. It tasted like toothpaste, and that's not for me. This one, though, we're kind of combining some food memories. So I picked out one recipe for sure we're going to do, and that is the potato waffles and smoked salmon. So I have a little waffle maker upstairs that makes like one like big waffle. So we're going to make that. And the funny thing is in another lifetime, I had a different family, not Jason's crazy giant family, which I adore them all. Hello, I love you. But in my other life, I had a different family. And you're like, have you lived alternate lives? No, but sometimes I get confused because I read a lot of sci-fi and fantasy, and I'm like, what timeline am I in? Am I in the darkest timeline? November and December, I feel like I'm in the darkest timeline. But I used to, my old mother-in-law used to make potato pancakes. And so she'd make them on the griddle, and they were so fluffy and light, and they just melted in your mouth. And every time she was going to make potato pancakes, I just wanted to drool everywhere. They were so good. So I thought this would be really fun to make these potato pancakes and smoked salmon. So we go to Kalina to go every week. You guys know this. And don't you worry, even when I was working a million hours, I didn't go to Kalina, but Jason went to Kalina for me. And he also would get stuff for the other vendors as well, because the other vendors know that he's going to get something at Kalina, so they would be like, could you also get me something? So we're going to do this recipe. Look at how gorgeous this is. So we're going to make that. Potato pancakes and gravlax, which is smoked salmon. I probably will pick another 1 or 2 recipes from this book. It is absolutely stunning, and there's lots of really cool, very, very Nordic recipes in here. The thing that attracted me to this book was at the front of the book, they have a lot of recipes for different sauces, different like cordials and stuff like that, which is very, very Danish. You know, this you think it's like smorgasbord, so the smorgasbord, that's like, I'm sorry, Danish people. I can't pronounce the brol sound. I just can't. My mouth does not make that sound. So it's spelled B-R-O with the slash through it, D. But the D has a TH sound. I'm not even going to get into it. Trust me. Danish is hard. I used to be not quite fluent, but I was pretty good. So this is a fun food memory in that, you know, I used to do the potato pancakes, and then, of course, lots of smoked fish when I lived in Denmark. Like, you could buy these smoked fish dips, and they, oh my gosh, they were so good. So good. You could get smoked cheese dip and all sorts of stuff. So there's lots and lots of food that, you know, I can't really find here. And so this will be fun. So we did Alberta, Appalachia, Scandinavia. Now we're going to come back to an Alberta author with a very cool book. And this is where I was saying earlier, sometimes it's a theme. This one, oh, wait till you see this cover. If you are listening to this episode, go to Instagram or flip over to YouTube. This cover makes my heart happy. So the book is called Pucker, a cookbook for citrus lovers, and it's by Gwendolyn Richards. So she's a local author as well. She's in Calgary, and she is a food writer in Calgary. And I actually went to the book launch for this book, and she's so interesting. She said, I wanted to write a book all about citrus, and that's it. Just citrus. So the whole book is oranges, lemons, limes, grapefruit. Like, it's just citrus. Every recipe is a citrus recipe. And they're just, again, the pictures are gorgeous. The recipes are really unique in how they use everything. And so for this book, I didn't really pick a specific dessert that I wanted to do, but I'm probably going to do some kind of a dessert from this book. So we're going to see. Because this is all citrus, and there's some really cool like lemon bars and stuff like that. And I'm just feeling very much like lemon is the ingredient that I need to be eating right now. Lemon, lime, key lime, like all of those kinds of things. So we're gonna go and look through here. They also have crepes with lemon and sugar. Hello. So Pucker, absolutely stunning cover to this book. And again, Gwendolyn Richards, and she is a local author to here. The last cookbook that I'm going to make something from, this is actually a teacher of mine. I've taken classes from him, and it's called New School Sweets, and the subtitle is Old School Pastries with an Insanely Delicious Twist. So this book is by Vinesh Johnny and Andreas Lara. So Andreas Lara, I've actually taken classes from him. He is, as it says, global pastry educator. He is so incredibly talented. When you take a class from him, your mind is completely blown by the amount of knowledge that he has just about everything. He's the guy that's like, okay, this ingredient is X, and this ingredient can do this, this, this. But what if? And then he'll start experimenting. So I can use cocoa powder for this, but could I use it for this? Could I use it for this? If I use this sugar, what can I do? If I use this sugar, what can I do? And he's just like so talented. And when you take a class from him, he is very much on my wavelength. I want yummy. We've talked about this before. I want yummy. I want nostalgia. I want something I can sink my teeth into. do not give me weird chocolate things. Don't do it. Don't do it. He has so many incredible recipes in this cookbook. And of course, everything has a beautiful picture to it. So yeah, here we go. Rocky Road cookies. Like, these are gorgeous. I'm not sure what I'm going to make from this book yet, but the Pucker book is all citrus stuff. And I don't know why. I'm craving lemon stuff right now. But this book actually has, this New School Sweets has a lemon pound cake recipe in it that, I don't know, it might be the way to go. He also has oh God, he's got like banana breads. I've actually had, so I did a class in 2018. So he's in Vegas. He's at the Melissa Coppola Atelier. And at that point, he was just like, he wasn't teaching classes yet, but he was the chef that was on staff to make food for all the students. And I have had his banana cake for breakfast, and it's to die for. I'm not even going to lie. It is to die for. So all of these recipes are just ridiculously good. Like roasted nut fruit cake. Yep, I can get behind this. So I'm going to pick out one recipe from this book, maybe two. But again, he has a story with his co-author about every single thing. And I just listened to a podcast that he was on where he talked about filming all of the photos. So they did basically like a power session. So he had gone to where his friend Vinesh is in India, and they did the cookbook. They created the recipes, they tested the recipes, they did all of the pictures for it, and the story is really, really interesting how they kind of put it all together and kind of put their brains together to get this book done, but I think it's going to be great, and I'm very excited to share this with you. And then the last one that we're going to actually go into next week's episode, Wild Fermentation by Sandor Katz. So if you have not fermented before, this is a great beginner book to start with. So the subtitle is The Flavor, Nutrition, and Craft of Live Culture Foods. And so he is kind of like, when anybody thinks about fermenting anything, this is the guy. He has 3 books out now, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he has 3 books out. And so what I wanted to do, I bought some radishes 2 weeks ago. They're sitting in the fridge upstairs. Jason keeps reminding me, you haven't used your radishes. I know, friend, I'll get to it. But I'm going to do some quick pickled radish. I'm going to do some fermented radish. So I'm going to do a salt, like a lacto ferment. And I'm going to do a brine. So I'm going to do radishes in a bunch of different ways. And I think I have 4 species of radish in the bag. And it's from this really cool farm called Thistle Farms. And they are a vendor at one of the local farmers market. The farmer is crazy cool to talk to. Like we get along like a house on fire. So I'm very, very excited about that. And so that's what we're going to do for next week, because I want to get those started with their fermenting so that in a couple of weeks from now, we can go and test and eat them. The quick pickled ones will be ready right away, but I'm also going to do a couple different quick pickled because I found at the Italian Center, you guys know I love shopping there, ginger paste. Oh, I can't wait. Again, as I mentioned earlier, ginger, doesn't matter how much ginger is in it, I'm probably going to want more. So the books that we're doing here, very, very excited about this. Oh, look at these amazing books. 6 books we're going to start off with. We're going to do quarterly. So we've got 2 Alberta, 1 Scandinavia, 1 Appalachia, 1 fermentation, and then 1 kind of a mishmash of cultures from across the world. And that is what we're going to do for this next quarter. So like I said, next week, the episode is going to be how I do the different quick pickling, brining, and lactoferment for the radishes. And if you're not a radish fan, it's okay, friends. I did not eat radishes until I was probably, how many years old? 45? I was like, ooh, radishes, gross. And then I had one and I thought, well, this is delightful. Why haven't I been eating these my whole life? You know how sometimes you just don't know what you're missing until you figure it out later? Just like Sloan was talking about in her episode where, when she said sometimes kids just can't connect with foods. Well, sometimes as an adult, you just don't even think to try something again that you did not enjoy as a child. So I'm glad that radishes are in my life now. I love daikon. I love pickled daikon. Like, sign me up. Pickled daikon, pickled radish. They're so good. And I don't know what it is, but at this time of year, I want pickled, fermented, brined, all of those things. I want those foods. I'm also going to bring my SCOBY on next week. Oh, he's a little fat friend. So I had bought a kombucha from a local vendor, and I found a little bitty. It looked like kind of discoloration in the kombucha, but I've grown kombucha before. I've had many kombuchas in my life, and so I knew it was actually a little itty bitty tiny SCOBY. And so now I've grown him, and I should measure him. I think he's about 6 or 7 inches thick now. He's a big boy. And I haven't named him. I should name him maybe. Something other than SCOBY. But I might bring that down and show you guys as well what my SCOBY looks like. And I got to get going back on doing my kombucha. I just kind of have left him to fend for himself. So it's not very nice. But that's how things gone. Because November and December, I'm a non-human. I am just the person that's like doing this stuff. So with that, we're going to end off this episode. I hope you are as excited as I am about all the different books that we're going to go through and do some reviews on each of them as well. And then I have a couple farmers that are going to be coming on, and we're going to talk to them. I'm just trying to figure out actually how to set up my microphones because I have this little microphone on today and it's great. I just have to see if I have 2 of us sitting and talking, how that's going to work and if that's going to be great. Other than that, Happy New Year, everybody. I hope you had a wonderful holiday season, however it is you celebrate your holiday season. I know I enjoyed myself. I ate all the good foods. And I'm going to pick out some more stuff for these books. Please make sure that you subscribe, share, like. I just have to tell you guys this. I got the sweetest comment from somebody that listened to the podcast. They actually commented on the podcast site, and it made me so happy. So if you want to send me little messages on like Apple Podcasts or like do a review, make it 5 stars, please. But if you want to do something, I was tickled pink when I saw that message, and I had a big smile on my face. So it's fun to see where everybody's kind of listening from, and this was somebody that I had met at a market. So thank you very much for your comment. And with that, we are going to wrap it up. And I will see you, or you will hear me next week on the Food Explorer podcast with me, Colleen. Thank you so much, everybody.